On this week's episode of the BS Show, we dive into the big layoffs with Hi-Rez and more. Before we jump in, don't forget to stay connected with us on all socials. At the BS Show GG. Love what you're hearing? Show your support by liking this episode, dropping a comment with your thoughts, sharing this episode, and subscribing to keep up with all our future content. Want us to review a game or to answer your questions? Drop your recommendations and questions in our comments below. I'm Blake, and with me as always is Steve. Welcome back, everybody. Hope everybody's been having a good Sunday. I've had a lot of gaming going on this week, as we all know, and Steve likes to remind me constantly. I'm out of work right now, still with my shoulder injury, so I've had a fair bit.
You were giving me crap about not finishing a game, and I was like,
because it's such a good game. You were the one talking about how good it was, and you're still only like an hour into it.
No, I'm like 5 hours in.
Yeah, you just get to, you just got to like the fire area.
Yeah,
you still got so much more to go. So speaking of Expedition 33, I finally beat it, and I want to talk like so much about it, and I don't want to spoil what happens. So I guess another spoiler alert, like if you haven't finished the game, skip forward here a minute or two while I talk about it. So so I beat it, and you're left with two pretty much options, dude, and you already knew this because you went ahead and fucking decided to ruin the game for yourself, or the story for yourself. And so you get two different options. You get to Mael and God, what is his name, dude? Oh, Verso. Are like, Mael wants to stay in the painted world, wants to keep it, alive and well, and Verso just wants it to end. So those two battle each other, and you get to choose who you want to fight as, whether it's Verso or Mael. And I chose Verso because, he's like, I'm tired of living here. I just want to, rest in peace. He's like, you need to be able to grieve, all this other shit, and Mael, like I said, just wants to stay in this fantasy world. So I thought the right thing to do was pick Verso, and be done with it. And I posted the cutscene on my TikTok, or on our TikTok, and it was just so good, man. He had Eski and Monaco, and he's like, I'll always miss you guys. He's holding them, and then Sayo and Luna, they're all saying their byes, and it was just very fantastic story, man. And I know you said it's supposed to be coming out with a movie. Like, I thought about replaying the game again and doing, like I said, more of the side bosses and stuff like that, but I don't know, like that story was just so fucking good, dude. You need to finish it, man. But besides that, I obviously play League. I tried out this new battle royale called Splitgate 2. Which felt like it was, I don't know if have you seen that yet, Steve?
Yeah, I played the original when it came out a couple years ago.
So is it the same thing, like, pretty much?
It's the same concept where it's like you make these little portals. I haven't played Splitgate 2 and I haven't like watched people play it, but from what the pictures and all that I saw, it does kind of look very similar, where it's like based around like making like these portals that teleport you to different areas.
Yeah, so it felt like it was like a mixture between Portal and like the finals.
Yeah, the first game was only up for like, I think it was like a month, and then it just like completely died, and they took it down.
So they thought us do another one.
I think it was, I can't remember exactly what happened, but there was like a lot of people that really liked it, because I think it was like, it might have been like early access, and then they just kind of shelved the whole game. I forget exactly what happened. I'd have to see, but yeah, it was like you were able to get into games really quickly, and then all of a sudden it's like you just couldn't get into anything.
Yeah, I played they have this, it's called like arena mode, which is pretty much like capture I'm gonna call like, oh my god, dude, like capture a base. Like there's a little area you gotta contest and stuff like that, and it was actually a nice little change of pace of games. I've never played anything like that, being able to place, your portals on one wall, and then, have yourself come in somewhere else. What I thought was really cool is like you can open up a portal to somewhere, and you're looking through that portal, and you're able to shoot. Like if somebody walks past that, the other end of that portal, you're able to shoot them from your side. And you can just it makes movement around the map really really cool, and just a lot of different makes you really think about it. Besides that, I've been playing some Elden Ring Night Rain. I'm still just very kind of lost in the game. I finally understood how you're supposed to be doing it. So you were right, and during the day you're supposed to be hitting up all the churches, the mines and stuff, the caves, whatever, and trying to gear up as much as you can, and then at the end of each night is the boss fight. But what I keep noticing happening is people just keep leaving my game. So when I end up joining, queuing, filling the other two people, one person ends up leaving, or they both leave, and I join into by myself, and I'm like, I'm just not even going to bother with this. And I also wish that the game had different character, classes, I guess you could say, because it just doesn't feel like a normal Elden Ring game to me. Besides that, I haven't really been playing a whole lot besides those games. How about you, man?
This week, honestly, I haven't really had a chance to play a whole lot of games. I was playing a little bit of First Ascendant with some friends yesterday. Just kind of jumped in there and doing some running around, shooting things. Just a little bit of a time waster. I had a couple buddies that wanted to play that. Played a little TFT. Then, like I told you, I went out, and even today, I just got home probably 30, 45 minutes ago, and I haven't booted up a game yet this entire weekend. So it's a little bit strange, but...
What's the first game you're going to boot up?
Probably TFT.
Oh my god, dude, you would.
Yeah.
All right.
It's probably gonna be TFT or maybe jump on First Ascendant for a little bit again.
Don't have enough time to hop into a story.
No.
All right, no. So let's get into these questions we got for this week. So this first one is, what's a gaming moment you'll never forget? And I want to clarify this. I think this should be whether inside of a game or outside of a game.
Outside of it, interesting. I don't know. For me, it was such a difficult thing to kind of think about. I think the first thing that kind of came to mind was the first time I ever played Uncharted 2, and I think I've told you this before. It was the first game that I remember where you jump into water and you come out and your clothes look visibly wet, and I was like, "What the heck is this?" I was like, "What is going on?" This is I thought it was witchcraft, because it's you've never seen a game that was able to do anything like that, where it's any other game, you jump in water, you jump out, and your clothes stay the same. But this game, it was as soon as you jump in, you jump out, your clothes are wet and they look heavier, and I was like, this is pretty nuts.
Well, that game came out too in what was that, 2009-ish? So
yeah,
it's
2009, 2010.
We would have been 18. So that kind of stuff wasn't really around in video games yet, was it? I mean, they didn't have the really good graphics on consoles, or PCs still weren't a huge thing.
Yeah, it was either that for me, or then I was kind of trying to think when my my mind was blown while I was playing a game, and it was either the first Colossus that I saw in Shadow of the Colossus, just because it was so big, and just trying to wrap your head around how you're going to beat this thing was a little intense, or the first time I made it to the Ender World in Minecraft.
I never once ever made it that far.
Really?
Dude, I never did anything besides craft and build stuff. I never tried to do anything else.
That's what I'm saying. It opens up a whole nother world of that game, where it's you think this game that's all about just crafting and doing this, and then it's okay, there's a whole nother world underneath this world, or maybe even not underneath, just you have to take the portal, and you have to kind of figure out how to get this portal, because there's nothing, there's no quest, there's no prompts that tell you to build this portal. Sometimes you'll see some half built ender portals, and maybe you can figure out hey, if I light this up, it'll turn, and then you end up on the other side, and you're holy crap, this is crazy.
I've never known to do any of that stuff.
Yeah, I know. It's so it's the first time I ever ended up over there, I was kind of blown away. And then on top of that, it's trying to figure out what to do after that without watching any videos, and just I think my first 100 times in the Enderworld, I ended up just dying, because it's I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm running around, and I can't figure out how to find my portal to get back to where I want it to be. So it's you just figure out little things on how to get to where you need to go, and then hopefully you're able to make it back once you get everything you need. But yeah, it's
So did you beat the game?
Or
I guess you said you beat the, what is it, Ender Dragon or whatever?
Yeah, I've beaten the dragon a couple times.
I wonder what it looks like. I've never even been curious to look, to be honest with you.
It's just like a base, like if whatever you would think like a dragon in Minecraft world would look like. That's probably what it looks like. It's hard to explain because it's just a big black blocky dragon, and
they did what they could with what they had.
If you can imagine a Minecraft dragon, that's what this looks like.
I got you.
But,
okay.
Again, it's like such an epic thing to get to. It's like you have to do so many different things, and then eventually you end up in the Underworld. Then you have to get your rods. You have to get all these different the little pearls, and then from that you're able to build the other pearls that get you to the dragon.
See, my moment is like totally different than yours. Like when I said like inside or out of game, so I guess I was thinking more of like a moment in life that was like around gaming. So like I was thinking about this and I was like, one big gaming moment that I'll never forget is like, I guess it was one of many, like, all the times when we were like younger, dude, me, you, Brett, and everybody, we would go to your house. We'd stay up late at night playing Gears of War. We'd play all these games. And there was one specific night I was remembering, and you probably remember this too. DJ was there. I was there. Brett, you. I think your cousins were there. And I think we were playing Gears of War. And your mom had made us like burgers. And I think we were like 16, 17. And somehow you brought out like a bottle of fucking brandy, I think it was.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, and so my little brother, he is, I think he's 5 years younger than me. And we had him take a shot. You were like, dude, take a shot of this brandy, you bitch, or something like that. And he ended up throwing up all over your, what was that, your like coffee table, that stand right there. Oh, man. And I just remember like that happening, and then like when I broke your fucking futon, the bed, the couch bed.
Yeah.
I mean, like things like that, dude. That's those things like I'll never forget. Now, if you were to ask me like a moment in gaming, I'll never forget. I don't really know if I'll have. I don't really think I have one. Maybe like the first time I started playing World of Warcraft, dude. I mean, just kind of. I didn't play EverQuest or any MMOs prior to WoW. So to hop into that, dude, and see this big world, man, it was kind of like, because you're the one that even showed it to us. I remember you came over to our house, we were in our basement, and I think it was like BC.
Well, no, it was your brother got it for Christmas, so DJ got it for Christmas.
And were you over and you showed him? Did you play because of him?
I had never played the game before, and he got it for Christmas.
I didn't know he got it for Christmas.
Yeah, and then that's how we all kind of started playing. And
how the fuck do you remember that? But I don't remember that happening from my own brother. I remember it being on the computer downstairs in our basement, but I don't remember. I thought you were the one that brought it over and was like, "Yo, check this out."
Yeah. I don't think you started playing until after like a while after. Because it was mostly me and your brother that would play it.
Yeah, I really started getting into it in was it Cataclysm? Early Cataclysm was when I started becoming addicted to it.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about the same thing too. It's like the first time you play something like that, because it's like you kind of equate it to like the first time someone takes like a hit of some like crazy hardcore drug. Because it's that's kind of what it was. It was like I remember when I first like started playing and got like super into it, to the point where it's like I wanted to do like the only thing I was really thinking about was like, okay, I need to get back onto WoW because I need to go mine some ore so I can get some gold or so I can make this thing. And it's like and it got even worse when it's like, because I got like really big into it when I was in the military. And it got even worse when it was like a buddy of mine from that I was stationed with. He played it too, so it was like we would both just sit there at work and just talk about like World of Warcraft the entire time. And it's like, okay, we're gonna go home and we're gonna play World of Warcraft, and this is what we're gonna do. And yeah, that's like it was like next level thing. And it's like now kind of thinking back to it, I think the whole botting thing kind of ruined it for me, because it's like it just made you so lazy, and like all the things that it's like you used to work super hard for, and like you used to actually like care about getting. Now it's like, oh, I could just throw my bot
on. Yeah, honor buddy.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny you say that too, because like I was really big into it when I was over in South Korea. I had a buddy, my roommate Red Wansky. He was a big WoW player. And we started doing. He was the one who actually introduced me into PvP, and he played. We played double feral druid 2s, and that was like his thing because he liked watching soda poppin'. And you know, what was I gonna say? And what's actually kind of crazy too with like World of Warcraft is like just how big the game is and was back then. I remember my mom went to the gas station and they had like World of Warcraft like big plastic fucking cups, bro, and she brought it home. And just a little side story here. When me and Megan first started dating, she had no idea I played World of Warcraft. She used to, because so she goes to bed pretty early, right? So she would go to bed at like 8, 9 o'clock, and then I would stay up on my computer in my room, and I would boot up World of Warcraft and do like BGs and rated, you know, RBGs and stuff like that. And she had no fucking clue that I played until one day Brett went and grabbed a fucking World of Warcraft cup from the pantry and showed it to her and goes, "Hey, do you know Blake plays World of Warcraft?" And I was like, dude, I had something real good going on. She had no idea that I played these video games, and he just ruined it for me. And then after that, once she became like totally cool with me playing video games, it kind of changed like everything. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll just play some fucking WoW while you're here. If we're not doing nothing, I'm gonna play some WoW and grind out some BGs. Sorry, for our next question here. How do you think gaming has shaped your personality or life?
I think I've said this a couple times before. It's I think the biggest thing for me, it really teaches you how to tackle a challenge. At least me specifically, I guess it taught me how to tackle a challenge and how to persevere. It's like sometimes you're not always going to beat the boss on the first try. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. Sometimes you have to go back and start from scratch. You have to look at it from a different angle, and maybe you did something wrong here, you did something wrong there. Maybe it wasn't your fault. Maybe it was like a bug or something. But it kind of gets you. It got me to the point where it's like I was able to look at problems and like address them. And it's like sometimes I need outside help. I need to go watch YouTube videos. So sometimes I need to be comfortable going to other people that are better than me at this one thing and ask them for help. And I take that with my with me everywhere I go, whether it's like career or personal life. It's like
that's a good lesson though.
Yeah, it's like I especially like the games. I mean, granted, I think I play an absurd amount, like a variety of games. It's not like I just play one type of game. Like it's like if I was just like a Souls-like player, it's completely different. It's like I like pain. I like to redo things over and over. But it's like I do enjoy doing those things. But it's like, like I said, I think the biggest lesson for me, it's like you have to keep going. It's not gonna you're not gonna beat the boss on the first try. Sometimes you will, but sometimes you won't. And you learn from every single rep.
See, I think for me, I think gaming kind of helped, or not. Yeah, I guess gaming kind of made me like a more competitive person, and even like social. So I think I've brought this up before. You know, I was really big into COD 4, all throughout high school. And I was in a metal band for a few years, and I used to skip practice to play Call of Duty, and I competed on like MLG Pro Circuit ladders, went to LANs, but it's that competitiveness has like carried me through like even till today, like, again, playing like League and stuff like that. Wow. Like, I love PvP. I love earning rating. I love earning rank. I love just the competitive aspect of everything. And I like, even using that in my daily life, in different aspects. And I think that's what it's really done. And besides that, I think maybe it's helped me, it's shaped me to learn how to like let my problems go, if that makes sense. Because like when you go into a game, you kind of, we've mentioned this before, it's like an escape. You're no longer who you are, so it kind of help me like leave my problems, in outside of there and all that. But yeah, I think that's the answer I'm gonna go for. So I got one more question here. What do you think the future of gaming looks like in 10 years?
So this is, it's weird because I kind of think we're already kind of like, I would say like a beta version of what I think the future of gaming is going to look like. I think the future of gaming is going to be something where it's like you have like one thing that kind of encompasses all of gaming, where you can go into, say, I guess World of Warcraft, for example, and you can do everything you want to do in terms of gaming inside World of Warcraft, whether it's you want to play Madden, you want to play a shooter, you want to do all a random cozy life simulator, whatever it is. And we're like, the reason I said we're kind of seeing like a beta version of it is because we have games like Roblox and Fortnite where people are able to customize, use the game code and customize whatever they want and kind of create like a different game within the game. And I honestly think this is what the future of game, like if there's some developers, and I know GTA is kind of doing something, they're trying to do something similar like that to make it so it's like this is the only thing you ever need to play. Everything that you want to play is within this one game. I honestly think it's going to be something very similar to that. I think a lot of people are kind of talking about like VR and all this stuff, but it's like I don't necessarily think VR is the future because VR, it's very difficult to play VR for a long time for the normal casual person.
Oh, you get sick too.
Yeah, I think it's like gaming. Like yes, a lot of people play games, but the largest chunk of your player base aren't people that are spending 8 hours a day grinding a game. They're spending maybe 1-2 hours here and there. Maybe they come home from work and they want to play a quick match, whatever it is. That's like your largest percentage of your everyday player is just the working class, or the people that are going to school just want to get a couple games here and there after work, after class. That we need to find something that's going to entertain them. And I think having this where it's like you can do whatever you want. Like I'm just going to boot up Fortnite, and Fortnite, if I want to play soccer, if I want to play football, if I want to play hockey, whatever it is, Fortnite will have an option for me to do something like that.
That's actually a really good answer. Mine's kind of along the lines of that, and when you mentioned VR, if you would have asked us this question 10 years ago, I guarantee you 95% of answers would have been like, oh, it's all going to be VR, super realistic stuff. Kind of like how, if you remember 10 years ago when people asked what we thought, the 2020 would be like, people thought there was going to be fucking flying cars and shit like that and like super realistic. But like if you're asking me this question now, I agree with you. I think it's going to be kind of like you ever seen the movie Ready Player One?
Kind of, yeah. So, I just think I guess with that, it's like that is still kind of a segment of VR.
Well, what I was going to say with it, I was going to say like not the virtual reality aspect of it, but kind of having one place for everything. So similar to like you said, like GTA, or like a Fortnite, where you can go into these games or worlds and still have more. You can have games within the game to have just basically like unlimited content to where you're not going to need all this stuff. Like you go into Fortnite, I mean, you have there's how many different game modes and different things you could really play. So like, they got like, I'm just going to say like a prop hunt, right? So you don't even need to play Call of Duty for prop hunt. You can just boot up Fortnite and find it right there. You could play soccer, you could do, racing and all this other shit. I think kind of it is going to be like that, where there's going to be one big company and one big game, and it's going to have, just hundreds of mini games within that game, to where you're never going to ever fucking hop off it.
And who knows, maybe the technology will enhance to a level where it's a lot more feasible to be in virtual reality for longer periods of time. Like maybe there's going to be like some like glasses that you could just put on, and that's going to make it so you're able to go into whatever virtual reality thing. I don't know, who knows.
Would you want that to happen? Like, I just, when I watch these movies like Gamer or Ready Player One, I'm like, man, that'd be fucking kind of cool. But then I'm like, would you really want that though?
I think a lot of people would. Like, I can't remember the name of the movie, where it's like people basically live a second life within the VR. So it's like people create personas and they're able to interact with each other with their avatars or whatever it may be. And basically, like, their in-person life, it's like they're just paying for people to come in and like clean them and like feed them, and then the rest of the time they're in the world. I think it was like a Bruce Willis movie. I'll look for it, and if I find it, I'll send it to you. It's like a movie from the 90s, early 2000s, something like that. And that's the whole concept. It's like people are living a large portions of their lives inside these virtual realities, and that's how they interact. I think if virtual reality gets to the point where it's like people think it's going to be, I think it will be something where it's like people would prefer to live their lives inside virtual reality rather than in the real world. Because I think in virtual reality,
that makes sense. You can do whatever.
You want. You see people kind of do that now with like VR chat. Like I've like watched like TikTok videos and like Reddits of like these people that are saying like, yeah, I've spent like 48, 56 hours or whatever on VR chat before I left. It's like I would go to sleep with my headset on. I would wake up. I would do everything I was doing with my headset on. And then it's like, finally, I just decided to get off. And it's like, so things like that, like people are doing something similar, and it's already happening. It's just like, now, is there going to be something that's going to entice the everyday person to want to do something like that? And I think eventually it probably will. It's just whether or not it happens in 10 years. I don't think so.
I think it would happen if there was ever a way to where in-game currency was being able to be used outside of the world. So again, kind of like Ready Player One, where you could buy things inside the game and you'd get it shipped to your house.
Well, I think you're already having people that are working in VR, like or not just VR, but in games in general. Like I know there's people that work at the storefronts or restaurants inside Roblox, and companies will pay them to work at their store inside the game.
What the
fuck? There was an ad. It's like you're working at a Starbucks inside a Roblox and you're making $15 an hour. And it's like there's a lot of people that do stuff like that. And it's like Nike has a shoe store and you're selling shoes at the Nike store inside Roblox, and Nike is paying you to work at the store. So it's like you have to come in and clock in and do your regular stuff, but it's like we're already seeing some sort of segments of like a second life inside gaming. I just don't necessarily think it's going to get to the point where it's going to be a lot more rampant in the next 10 years. I think it's probably in the next like 20, 30 years, maybe when we're like old and decrepit and we're like, we can't walk. We'll be on there trying to...
We can be our younger selves in this VR.
Yeah.
That'd be cool, but scary at the same time. So let's cut to the BS and get right into it. So the developers behind Expedition 33 came out and they're talking about how they're really hoping players support, more of your $40 and $50 games, as a lot of your big AAA publishers are really hoping that GTA charges $100. And I think it's kind of scary in the sense that, if GTA does charge $100 and so many people buy it up, I do think that's going to be like the new standard. I mean, we're already seeing $60, $70 games, and Expedition 33 is a perfect example of like, you don't need to have that super expensive game to get, so much content out of it. And, I can't remember do you remember how much, because in the same article, they talk about Baldur's Gate was like the same thing. It seems like yeah. So it actually seems like these, I don't want to say cheaper because $50 is still, up there. But these cheaper than AAA games have like been actually performing so much better than your big AAA titles, So what do you think about this? Do you think that more people need to be on these $40 to $50 games too?
I mean, it's weird because I think we're already in the era where games are going to be 80 plus. Like, I think Nintendo was the first one to kind of get there, and it's like it's nothing is going back. the industry is always going to proceed to move forward, and it's like if they see people are willing to pay $70 for Mario Kart, they're going to be like, okay, let's try $80. Assassin's Creed Shadow did the same thing. It's like, okay, you're going to pay $70 for the base level game. Like, this is what you're getting. You're getting the base level. That's it. You're not getting the season pass. You're not getting anything else. And it's $70. And people are willing to pay for that. I don't necessarily think it's a good thing, but again, it's like these small indie companies aren't going to be able to charge AAA pricing for their games, and I think that's good. It kind of sets a tone where it's like very kind of like how you were talking. It's like the indie games are doing better in terms of performance, but you still have these AAA giants that are putting out whatever they're putting out. People are still going to buy them. But having these great games at a much lower cost, I think it's gonna be better for them because more players are going to want to flock towards that, rather than saying like, oh, I'm gonna buy whatever the new Call of Duty is coming out next month. I'm not gonna buy anything this month because I need to save up to be able to buy Call of Duty. Now you're gonna think about it, it's like, oh, I could buy 2 indie games instead of buying 1 AAA game.
Well, if you look to the past 2 Game of the Years have been not huge games. Astrobot, I mean, they've been huge games, but not, $80 games. You got Astrobot and Baldur's Gate.
I mean, Astrobot was in terms of like big, and it was backed by Sony, so it was a pretty huge game. I would say Baldur's Gate more so, definitely more on the indie side for sure. But
but look at the price of it though.
Yeah, and one thing I would say though too, it's like that when Baldur's Gate came out, it came out at the price that the games were charging for AAA games. I think the big difference between Baldur's Gate and like something like whatever AAA game came out that year is that when Baldur's Gate was released, it was finished. It was complete. There was no game-breaking bugs that required patches to fix whatever it was. There was no content locked behind DLC. Like, you could play everything, every single part of the game, without having to spend an extra dollar or wait months before you were able to finish it. I think that's the bad thing, and this is why like a lot of people are kind of trying to paint a negative picture towards, or this is what's kind of painting a negative picture towards AAA gaming, is a lot of the times when you're paying premium price, you should expect a premium product. But you're not really receiving premium product. You're receiving a half finished or sometimes littered with bugs. Like I don't know if you remember when like Star Wars Outlaws came out. It was like I think people were like falling into the ground, and like there's a bunch of stuff like that. And it's like you're paying premium dollars. You expect premium product, and you're not receiving that with AAA gaming.
What I will say though is GTA is probably like one of the only games that I think could charge that you would get that dollar's worth of content 100%. Out of it. Like, I wouldn't pay $100 for a Call of Duty or a Fortnite or whatever, but $100 for a GTA, like, yeah, because they don't release games every 2-3 years. You're waiting 10-15 years in between each game, and like you say, the amount of content within that game.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Is like you're like you said, you receive so much from GTA 5 that when gaming companies tend to go to their next version, ideally you expect something bigger. Like, you never want to see a company regress, and GTA 5 was so big. Like, not just the campaign, like the campaign was huge itself, but like there was so much to do within the campaign. And you've seen progression from Rockstar. Like, every single game that they've released has been better than the previous one. Like, whether it was going from San Andreas to GTA 5 and then from GTA 5 to Red Dead Redemption, like, yes, they were very similar, but in terms of like overall like size and what you're able to do, like Red Dead was bigger and better than GTA. I think the reason GTA outlasted Red Dead is largely because of the where they're kind of based out of. Like, it's like one, you're driving a car, the other one you're riding a horse, and I think people would much rather drive a car than ride a horse, and shoot guns than ride a horse.
I agree. So let's get into this next one here. So No Man's Sky just came out with a beacon update. So there's going to be new robotic settlements to discover. Each inhabitant now has its own attributes and abilities. There's new building types like bars and vision ponds. You can become the mayor now of multiple settlements. You can manage a town, customize its production, and that's just a few of like the many updates or many things that this update brings. We were just actually talking about this before we started. I don't know if this is enough to want me to get back to play it. I mean, we played it for a good little bit a while back, but honestly, I really haven't even like dived much into it since then. What do you think of these updates? Is it anything that kind of giving you like the No Man's Sky itch?
I definitely re-downloaded the game. Like it made me want to kind of look at it again. I had a lot of fun in No Man's Sky. Like I love games where you can just mindlessly do whatever. And I guess the only thing that kind of like steers me away from No Man's Sky, it's like, or wanting to go back, is the amount of time that it would take for me to remember exactly what I was doing and what I was farming and where I was in the specific like quest zone area. Because it's like, it's at least in the beginning, it seems like, I think once you get towards the end, it's like you kind of just do whatever and you're just farming materials to build different things or build different ships or upgrade your ships, whatever it is. But in the beginning, it's like, it's very purposeful. It's like you have to do these well, you don't have to, but it's like, it's recommended that you do these specific things in order to get these specific upgrades to do the whatever it is that you need to do next to get to the next zone.
Well, have you played it
like
since we played it together last or no?
I played it for a little bit, so I think it's like we played around the same amount of time, probably like 10 hours, and then after that, it's like I haven't touched it since.
Yeah, see, I was just looking at my thing, and I haven't touched it since February.
Oh, really?
February 6th is the last time that I've played that game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I don't know. I have been thinking about re-downloading it. I just asked you just how about Assassin's Creed. It gave me the itch to want to finish that game up since I'm about halfway
done.
Cyberpunk. I know, dude. I feel like I'm you right now, and I have 80 different games that I'm trying to figure out what to do. Like I started Witcher. I started Resident Evil 4, or was it 3? Resident Evil 4. I got so much shit. So maybe I do need to get into Cyberpunk. So I haven't made it really super far into that game. Last time I played that was February 7th. So you think Cyberpunk's the next one I need to get into? Finish that one out?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think, I mean, you know how I feel about Cyberpunk. I think Cyberpunk is one of the best games ever made. So it's like, in my opinion, yes, you should play one of the best games ever made.
All right, maybe I'll give that one a go. So before we get into, I will do that game next. I think I'm going to re-download it after the episode today. So before we get to our next topic, don't forget to stay connected with us on all socials at the BSOGG. And if you're enjoying this episode so far, please be sure to share the podcast and leave a comment. So, Final Fantasy Tactics Hi-Rez Chronicles is going to be a remastered edition of the classical 1997 tactical RPG. Now, I'm guessing you saw the video, so what's going to be in this is you're going to have an enhanced visuals, fully voiced dialogue, improved user interface, and 2 gameplay modes, which is like the enhanced mode and classic mode. And I'm not going to lie to you, I never played the original. Did you at all, or?
Yes.
You did?
I love Final Fantasy Tactics is probably one of the game, like, it's the game that got me into strategy games. Like, I can't tell you how. I probably have maybe like 1,000 hours on the Game Boy Advance version. It was like one of those games where it's like, and this, when I was younger, it's like I took my Game Boy everywhere with me. It's like if my parents were going to the bank, I was in the car, I was sitting there with my Game Boy. And it's like Tactics was one of those games that it's like it felt it was like almost never ending. It was such an incredible. I loved it.
See, that game, you would have been 6 when it came out.
Yeah.
You played it? Did you play it like right when it came out? Did you have a Game Boy at like 6?
So I played the Game Boy Advance version. So I played not the original Tactics, but I played I think the Advance version came out in like 2004, 5, something like that.
So what exactly is it's supposed to be like a tactical? I'm trying to think of what like a tactical RPG is. Give me an example.
Imagine TFT.
Okay.
But so say like you go into a battle.
Okay.
And you have your squad, your characters. Each of your characters have a different job, and based on what their job is, like that's their role. So like I remember like my main guy was a ninja, and that's because I had like this very specific sword that was really good for ninjas. So it's like you could have mages, you could have healers, you could have thieves, so like rogues and all that stuff, and you would have to get weapons and level them up. And it's like as they leveled up, they learn new skills, new abilities. But so when you go into a battle, it's like all your people start kind of far away. Like the enemies start like in random spots. Your team sometimes will start in random spots depending on the thing. And each player or each unit gets a certain amount of movement that they would have to get to. If your character was a ranged attacker, it can attack from farther away. If it had to get close, it would have to get close. So it's like you move up to the enemy and then you attack them. And it's like if you kill everyone on the enemy team, you win. If your people die, a lot of the times it's like if I remember correctly, like if any of your units died in a battle, they would be gone. Like you wouldn't be able to revive them. The only one that would be able to come back is like I think it was like if it was your main character.
So they'd just be gone forever.
Yeah. They would basically just die. It's like if they died in real life, obviously you could revive them. Like in Final Fantasy, you have these things called Phoenix Downs. Like you'd be able to use one of those, revive them, and they would be. The fact that
you remember this shit so many years later is kind of crazy.
I love that. Like when I tell you, like I've looked to see if there was a chance to like if it was on PC or if there was any way I could play it or outside of like doing like an emulator. Because I'm not the biggest fan of like emulator games just because it's like I hate the controls. It's like usually you have to play with like a controller and it's just to make it a little bit like more manageable because I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of emulators. But yeah, like I said, I can't tell you how, I think it's either between that and like Tony Hawk Underground Pro Skater 2 in terms of like what game I spent the most time on in my youth.
Jesus. I just think it's kind of crazy. You still remember the game. I never even did it. I do want to mention too, if you are interested in this game, it is set to launch on September 30th of this year. It looks like it's going to be also a physical edition for the Switch 2. I think it's just going to be Switch 2 and PlayStation 5.
Yeah,
so that's it's going to make you're going to get a Switch. You're going to get a Switch too. Well, weren't you talking about before about getting a PlayStation just for GTA 6 too? So now here's your opportunity to get it ahead of the GTA 6 launch for.
Yeah, but that's not for a year.
Yeah, but you get it now for this and that.
No. I think I'm just gonna get a Switch. I think the Switch is perfect because it'll bring that nostalgia of being able to play with a handheld, playing this game on a handheld. So it's probably going to.
I guess that's a good point. Yeah, I was telling Megan that I wanted to get a Switch too, and she kind of rolled her eyes at me. So I don't know if I could. I don't know if I'll be able to convince her to let me get one. So the Witcher team, they did a tech demo of the Witcher 4. They say gameplay, but it's not gameplay. It's basically showcasing what the game is going to look like on Unreal 5. And dude, I'm blown away by the graphics of this game. It's of what it shows. It just so realistic looking. It's kind of crazy. Like I was thinking about this. Like right now in today's day and age of the technology we have with these GPUs, these games almost feel like you're like watching a movie with like just how realistic that they're becoming. I will say though too, like looking at the comments on this, a lot of people are kind of skeptical about it because, like I said, the reveal thing isn't actual gameplay, and they're afraid that it's going to be kind of like Cyberpunk, where when they did their preview, it looked fantastic, but then as soon as it released, it was nothing like it. But besides that, like, what did you think of this demo of this?
It looked pretty good. I mean,
super realistic, right? It looked fucking fantastic.
Yeah, the thing is too, it's like that we have to remember. It's like a good-looking game doesn't make a good game. Like we've seen plenty of games that come out that look incredible, and the game is just kind of flat and not great. The one good thing that I would say is the fact that the developers for this is CD Projekt Red, and I'm very hopeful that they learn from their mistakes that happened with Cyberpunk. I don't think they're going to try and overhype themselves out to the point where it's like, if they release this and it flops, it's not going to look. I wouldn't say they're done. It's like it's not going to look great, but I would have a little bit more faith in CD Projekt Red to be able to fix something broken, rather than say like Ubisoft. If this was Ubisoft, if they released this and it just completely was a piece of crap, then it's like, it's like you would have no hope that they would bring it back around. But the fact that they were able to turn Cyberpunk from what it was when it first came out to now, I arguably think it's like one of the best games ever made. That's huge. Like people were like, I remember like when it first dropped on Steam, and I was like reading the reviews, and it was like very negative, very negative, very negative. I was like, oh my god, what is going on? Like this game was so overhyped when it was first released, and it's like I waited almost like 2 years before I got it. It's like I think it wasn't until like I played it on PlayStation and I was like, oh, this is really, really fun. I was like, but then I also saw that it was like ported a lot better for console rather than PC. It was the fact that it was just like the PC port just wasn't great.
God, I'm just like, I just watched it again. I'm like, man, this fucking thing. This demo, like, it makes me kind of excited for the game. I know they haven't like talked about like any release date, but it looks fucking really good.
I would say the really cool thing though too that it, I guess gives some sort of hope is that Unreal Engine 5 is supposed to be like one of the more user friendly like engines for game making. I think that's why a lot of people are saying like Expedition 33, it was so well done because it was done on Unreal Engine 5, and it took us much. They were able to come in there with a much smaller team and be able to make it whatever it ended up being, like a really good game, obviously. But it kind of shows how strong and how easy this engine is. So Epic is like, I guess, doing something good. But yeah, it's I'm very excited for it. I hope you're able to play Gwent again in that game. I know when Witcher 3, I probably spent more time playing Gwent than I did playing the actual game.
See, I was just looking up on this too. It says it's supposed to come out in 2026, which is next year. So honestly, I think I'm going to pre-order this game when they show it, or when they officially release it and make it available to pre-purchase. I'm probably going to pick this up.
Yeah. I'm definitely I'm definitely gonna get it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, you love all the Witcher series too, so.
I've only played The Witcher 3. I've never played.
Really? You didn't play the other ones?
Mm-mm. And like I said, I spent more time playing Gwent than I did playing the actual game of The Witcher.
Wasn't it The Witcher that had like a bunch of sex scenes in it too?
Yeah, I think it was only a couple, but I can't remember 100%. Like I said, I played more of the card game inside the game than I did anything.
Yeah, maybe they'll have it in this one too.
I really hope so, because that game's really, really fun.
I'll have to try to find it, and if I get back into Witcher's 3.
If you play Witcher 3, every bar that you go to, there's someone that'll play Gwent with you.
I started the game, and then let me see real quick. I started playing it, and then I got like fucking 30 minutes onto it, and then I'm like, fuck, I have too many things to play right now. I don't have enough time to start The Witcher as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like games like that. It's a very story driven game. Like there's so many things that you can do inside The Witcher, where it's like you can literally go off and do whatever. I wouldn't recommend playing something like that unless you have the time to sit down and be able to like dedicate whatever, and you have the time. So
oh my god, here we go again. All right, let's get into the next one. Let's go. That's fucked up, Steve. I gotta say that, dude. So, before we get into our last topic, don't forget to stay connected with us on all socials at the BSOGG. And if you're enjoying this episode so far, please be sure to share the podcast and leave a comment. So, Hi-Rez has let go of their president and other top management. the company has felt that it had way too many senior management in relation to its current oh my god, I can't speak English. In relation to its current size, since they have had layoffs recently. I think that this is probably true, is because of how poor Smite 2 did. And I know you're a Smite fan, but I think we could both agree that it didn't do as well as everybody thought it was going to do. Is that fair to...
I don't really think anyone thought it was going to do...
You said it was going to be good, dude.
I thought it was... So, I think a lot of people were upset at the simple fact that it's like, all they were really doing, like even everything that they showed was just a graphics update. They were updating the engine to Unreal Engine 4, I believe, is what they went from UE3 to UE4. But nothing else was updated, and then you lost all the skins that you had, all the gods and all the skins that you had. But I agree. I think the reason he was let go is because the underperform. They're doing a whole. They cut their team down quite a bit, and the thing that tends to happen is like if you cut a team, there's not really they got rid of a lot of executives, and if your team is that much smaller, like they went from like 150 to 80 player or 80 team members. Like obviously you need to cut some weight up at the top because otherwise you're going to be very top heavy. Something very similar to like what's going on in the military right now. It's like they cut a bunch of generals because you don't really need this many generals because we're not at war. So just like little things like that. So I think that was fine. Obviously I think getting rid of the CEO is smart when the game is kind of tanking and not doing as great as probably they expected. I think they thought like updating something and like making it look pretty would kind of bring a lot of people back to it. But I know I've said this before. It's like, I think especially in the MOBA landscape, if your esports is not, if you're not doing anything with esports, your game is going to fail.
Destined, yeah.
Especially in the MOBA landscape.
They always had like their own little in-game fucking... or in-house tournaments, I think is what it was. Like they would stream it on like Facebook and shit like that, and that was really it.
They were always like decently sized. Like I mean, they were never like obviously like never like League of Legends, but they were making like I think something like a 300 mil or something a year from everything. I forget the actual numbers. I was listening to something earlier talking about it, but it's like it was never the biggest game. It was never going to compete against League of Legends and Dota, but I think there is opportunity for a WASD type movement, not necessarily like third person top down MOBA to jump in the landscape. It's kind of weird how we haven't seen one really come in and do well.
Well, I mean, League's going to be introducing WASD, so we'll see how they do with that.
But it's still
good.
It's still different though because it's like the way the characters look in Smite and the way the characters or the way you see the characters in League is
I think it's more graphically appealing in Smite. I will say that like your characters actually look cool.
I wouldn't say the graphically appealing thing. It's the more so the camera angle. It's like I think League is more you're looking at it from a third person point of view, like over the top. Smite, you're kind of almost zoomed in to the point where it's like you kind of feel like you're playing the actual character versus controlling the character. I'm curious to see how League does their
WASD
incorporates. Yeah. Because the fact that it's like a lot of the like the quote unquote like macro stuff that people do within League is like looking at different things based on cameras and where the totems are and all that dumb stuff. It's like
dumb stuff.
Yeah, because it's. I feel like every time I watch someone play League, they're never even like really looking at their character. They're just like looking at something else.
Yeah, because there's so much information you got to take in.
Yeah. They need to make it so you can't do that. I think if they make it so you can't do that, you could obviously still see your mini map, whatever. Like that's fine.
Like keep locked camera at all times.
Yeah.
No, that's never gonna happen, bro. That's never gonna happen.
Especially if they want to bring in like the casual players, I think incorporating something like that would be.
But you don't have to do that to really be good.
I think eventually, to a certain extent, they will, because the thing is, like every game, no matter what game it is, people are quitting that game every day. what gaming companies are doing is they're not necessarily or thinking about the current player as much. They're thinking more about like how do we get more new players to come in and play this game, not so much like how do we get our player base to stay the same. It's always growth. It's always growth minded, and you're the people that are playing the game are already playing the game. Whatever you do, they're probably still going to play the game. It's like you're more so thinking about like how do I get other players to come in and play the game.
You know what I was thinking too, and this is not a dig at Hi-Rez, is like they really haven't had anything like really successful. I mean, Smite was okay. Paladins kind of. I think I wonder if they'd be better off just making like their own fucking kind of game instead of like trying to do a hero. I'm gonna call it hero shooter like
what's Paladins
Overwatch.
Was fine.
Yeah, but Overwatch was better. I mean that's my opinion, but it performed better. Smite not anywhere near as good as League of Legends as far as player count.
As someone who played both Smite or Overwatch and Paladins, like
I think Paladins were fun.
They were basically the exact same game. I think obviously one just looked better graphically and it was pushed by Blizzard. I think that was the big difference. Had Paladins been a Blizzard project, I think Paladins would have been better.
Yeah, but you don't think they should just like be trying to make like just their own kind of game and not fucking do one that everybody else is doing too? I think so many people are trying to. I mean, not really though.
If you think about like all the big companies that are trying to release a game that hits in terms of like,
they're trying to be the next Fortnite, dude.
Not just Fortnite. They're trying to be something in the whole live service landscape, because that's how. If you get a live service game that hits, that's like an infinite money glitch. You're just printing so much money because players are throwing so much money into this to get skins, to get battle passes, to get all this sort of stuff. And I think the big thing. So I was actually listening to a Smite Pro player talk about the difference between Smite 1 and Smite 2, and he was kind of talking about how like Smite 2 kind of feels more like not as exact or precise is how he was trying to describe it. He's like, when you made moves in Smite 1, he's like, a lot of the times, like if I turned left or right, it's like it was almost like instant and it would snap, versus like the new one is a little bit more fluid, so it feels like almost like you're like on ice. And it's not in terms of like a MOBA, like when you're playing a MOBA, like most of the time, like as soon as you turn, it's turning instantly. Like you're not doing like a fluid turn.
Yeah.
Your player's not going like how you would turn in like normal life or whatever.
It's just instant, yeah.
Yeah. And that's what he was kind of saying. It's like it feels a little bit different. He's like it feels easier compared to Smite 1. He's like, because of this like fluidity movement thing, it's a lot harder to dodge and to miss shots. So it's like players are hitting these skill shots a lot easier. Obviously the whole no esports, that kind of removes the incentive for players to want to grind rank and to get better at these games, because they don't have that. Whether it's grassroots or whatever, like there has to be some sort of esports surrounding it. Like that's I mean like Dota is like a perfect example. Like I never hear anything about Dota, but Dota probably has like I know for the longest time it was like the highest prize pool out of like any game ever, and it's like
it's because it's was it backed by like there's a lot of Russians that play it.
Yeah.
I've tried playing Dota, and I just cannot play that game.
I mean, even games like Farming Simulator have esports, so it's like you need something in it.
I'm surprised though, like, not to change this up here, that like Dota 2 like never just updated like their graphics or anything like that. It's always been like the same look. Like it looks like it's an outdated fucking league. Like I've always been curious to play it though. I've always wanted to try it after being a huge League player. I've always wanted to get into Dota 2 as well. But it's just like, it just feels like old League of Legends.
Well, I think it's Valve, right? So it's probably why Valve is probably just like, oh, why should we update it? People are still playing our game.
Dude, right now they got over 500,000 people in game right now.
Dota.
Yeah. I'm at their I'm on their Steam page right now, and this came out in 2013.
It's a Valve. Like if you think about like some of the bigger esports games, like 2 of them are Valve games with Dota and Team Fortress 2. Team Fortress 2 came out in like 2001, something ridiculous like that, and people are still playing it. There's still tournaments, and Valve is basically like, why would we even bother updating this? People enjoy playing this. It's like, let's just let them keep playing it, and we'll focus on Steam.
You're telling me there's still TF2 fucking things?
Yeah.
What the fuck, dude? I honestly kind of want to give Dota, and now I want to try Dota 2.
It's like a much harder version of League.
Well, I mean, that's subjective. I've heard people say that they went to League because it was better, and I've heard people say that.
No. Like, I watched like a big like synopsis on the differences between League and Dota, and it's like basically it's like night and day in terms of like differences and like how much harder Dota is compared to League.
Just because it's so.
It's a different.
Oh yeah, it's saying this. It's saying League is easier to learn.
Yeah.
Than Dota.
Yeah.
Dota 2 is much more complex of a game.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay. Well, I think we're getting a little off track with this. So let's talk about some new games. I actually want to ask you about this game here, Steve. Dune Awakening is releasing here on PC in 2 days on the 10th. Are you going to be pre-ordering that? Because I was looking, it's only $50.
I don't know if I'm going to pre-order it. I think I'm going to wait. It's one of those games where I'm going to wait and see. I'm not a fan of MMOs where their PvE is centered around PvP, or their endgame in general is centered around PvP. Like, I hate when games do that, because it's going to be another, in my opinion, I think it's going to be a lot similar to how Throne and Liberty, where it's like all these big raids were basically controlled by the big guilds. It's like if you weren't a part of one of the big guilds, you were just going to get killed, and you
can't beat them, join them. All right, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to pre-order it, and I'll tell you how it is.
Yeah, and that's what it kind of looks like, because I don't know if you saw how the game plays. It's like once you get to end game, you have these like outer areas, and you'll see a big spice storm pop up, and you're supposed to go in there and basically get the spice, and that's like the whole concept of the game. But everyone can see when these spice storms pop up, so it's like everyone's going to be fighting for the spice.
All right, don't tell Megan. I just pre-ordered it though. Don't tell her. So, all right, so besides Dune Awakening coming out on the 10th, you got Mind's Eyes coming out on all platforms on June 10th, and some games that you need to check out on Steam that are on sale at the moment. Satisfactory is 30% off at $27.99. No Man's Sky is 60% off at $23.99, and Resident Evil Village is 75% off at $9.99. That's it for today's episode of the BS Show. If you enjoyed the unfiltered conversations, make sure to share this podcast and to follow us on all the socials at the BS Show GG. Want us to review a game or us to answer your questions? Drop your recommendations and questions in our comments below. We appreciate you listening, and we'll be back next week with more straight talk. No BS.